That's why I didn't want to laugh at Oya and her owl in the morning. Who could be visiting us here in the middle of nowhere? We don't know anyone around here. What if they're disguised as human? So persistent. I felt extremely unsettled just from a silly thought that our morning guest could have come from the woods. I could barely hear voices coming from the front door. My mind was urging me to hide. In the closet, under the table, behind the curtains, where Oya always hides. Tony, come here! I felt like kettlebells were tied to my feet, but still dragged them towards the hallway. A couple of policemen towered over me in the doorway. They smelled like frost and worry. My mom always winced and grumbled the moment she saw patrol cars. Worse than bandits. At that moment though, she looked somewhat confused. Hello? The senior officer, who wore a grim expression, nodded. A boy had gone missing yesterday. His name's Vova. Look at this. Please, have you seen him? The police held out a photograph to me. There was a ginger boy around the age of elementary school, pictured with a wall carpet as the backdrop. He had a striped cat in his hands and wore a wide smile. No, I haven't. Are you sure? Look closely. Where would I see him? I don't know anyone around here. I barely leave the house. Well, maybe you've seen him from the window? That's right. Your windows look straight at the forest, don't they? The window. No, I haven't seen anything. I see. He sounded tired, but his eyes, his stare, long and heavy, was full of suspicion. I squirmed unwittingly under the weight of guilt which his giant shadow cast over me. The policeman finally tore his eyes from me and glanced over the hallway, the stairway, and the cracks in the ceiling, which I haven't noticed before for some reason. Is that new? How do you like your new place, by the way? Getting used to it? Bit by bit. It's just our little daughter misses the city a lot. Misses the city, huh? Have the locals been treating you well? Yes, everything is alright, thank you. The policeman pierced through me one more time with his gray eyes. My head started spinning. Can I help you somehow? I asked that in a shaky voice to look like a polite boy and to end this unpleasant conversation sooner. Now that I think about it, you look just like one of my nephews, little fella. He's a witty boy around your age, wears the same type of goggles. Always engrossed in reading these mystery novels. Told me he wants to enroll in police school when his family visited this summer. Wanted to help other people, just like me, see? Is that the boy who's missing? I felt uncomfortable, as if a distant relative and not a police officer stood before me. You know what? Little boys like you should stay at home. Steer away from trouble. The times have changed so much. Mom interjected in a cold voice. You don't say. Well then. What grade are you in, Tony boy? 6. Have you made any friends here so far? Not yet. I'll be going to school for the first time after the break. Then I'll leave you my number, just in case. Call me, if you have any new info. The policemen were gone along with the shadows, the smell of cheap cologne, and the photo of a smiling boy. His face still stood before my eyes. I wonder what it was like for him, being all alone, there. For some reason, I thought of the forest, swaying in the wind. What did his poor parents feel? And what would my parents do if I'd gone missing? Would they cry and thrash around hysterically? Or would they accuse each other like they always do and forget about me eventually? Mom, this Vova, did he go missing in our forest? Seems like it, poor child. I looked out the window, at the road. The police UAZ drove off toward the village. I'm so glad they have a glossary in this game. A Soviet and Russian off-road freight passenger car. Ah. The officer's nephew came to mind when I was splitting off old paint from the windowsill. I remember all the teenage mystery novels from the Black Kitty series I've read this summer. Your average boys and girls investigated all sorts of mysteries there. They looked for clues, spied on suspicious people, and after a set of amazing adventures, bam! Solved any complicated case. They became local celebrities and must have made their parents very proud. I noticed a trail of policemen's footprints that led to the forest, and then it clicked my head. Why don't I start an investigation of my own? Maybe I'll find that lost boy. I mean, you could just tell them where you might have found him. That would have worked too. And I'll get a reward. Oya will be so happy. And not only Oya, Mom and Dad too. Maybe they'll even forget about their... Aww. Maybe they'll even forget about their quarrels for a while. Maybe I'll even save us from the D word, dick. I fantasized about buying Oya a Tamagotchi and getting a cassette player and a bunch of tapes for myself. And a whole box of Kinder Surprise. Yeah, but like, what if your investigation just leads you to a dead body? You could still get a reward, but it might be kind of depressing and sad and traumatizing. When was the last time our parents bought us any toys? Last autumn, I think. My dad had lost his job at the time. There's that annoying song about it. I had little to no idea what was the accountant's job like. They count money, I think? Neighbors used to envy us. But nowadays, Mom and Dad barely had money to afford sweets. And Dad would always divide a single chocolate bar between me and Oya. Sometimes I gave her my share too, aww. No matter how much I wanted to eat sweets, she was still just a pipsqueak. I couldn't wait to go out looking for clues. I'm going outside. Yeah, right. You want the police to go around with your photograph next? The forest is so thick. What if the boy got snatched up by wild animals? Or something even worse? Even worse echoed through the hallway. I won't go far. I'll stay away from the forest. Did you hear what I said? Or should I repeat myself? Better go pack your school bag or play with Oya. Is that a choice? The sound of splashing water came from the kitchen. It meant that the argument was over and Mom had the last word. Okay, I do have a choice. This is technically the first choice as well. Now, what is this? Open? What is this door? To the kitchen, to the front. We're not going to the yard. Technically, I am an obedient kid. Also, what is this button at the right? Oh. The cross had seen so many people come and go in the house. It was black as if it absorbed all the human sin from the long years that was hanging under the ceiling. After Grandma died, Mom was gonna take it off and hang a horseshoe in its place as a lucky charm. But she cut herself with a cross's sharp corner and almost fell from the stepladder. Dang. Dad called it a sign from above and ordered the cross to be left alone in its rightful place. Whose mom is it anyway? Oh, what about this? I'm not gonna read this. That's a telephone. Interesting. And this? A peg toy? Oh, it's a peg top! Does it peg people? Let's go here. The dark, stuffy closet. It smells like mice. There's an axe in there? That's good to know. That's actually good to know. It's kind of... Okay, what about to the kitchen? Anything in here? Like, I don't know, a popsicle? Pelmeni. Dumplings. Okay, I thought... Oh, it's a Russian fast food. That's cool. Man, I thought this was like a random fur ball or something. Interesting. Nothing to eat then. Hello, mother. It was difficult to lie to mom, but there's no other way for me to run away from home. The picture is dim and there are stripes all over this. Just so fix the damn TV. You're killing me here. Have you had enough of shooting those stupid ducks now? Okay, she went to Oya's room. I guess we're basically luring my mom out. Yeah, I guess that's what we just did. What else is here though? Crossword. Man, mom's kind of a bitch. Oh, The Lord of the Flies. I like that book. What about the radio? State of emergency. Oh. Anything else? It is what month? Oh, they stopped using it. Okay. Who the heck wrote this on the damn calendar? Alright, well, that's been done. Let's go save. I guess we have no choice but to go out and possibly get ourselves killed. Let's go save here because I don't know if distracting a mom was a good idea. Oh. You went to the field. Okay, this is awful. This is gonna get us grounded. I saw those silhouettes around here. They were jumping around holding hands. That hypnotizing music started playing in my head all on its own. In the light of day, these distant figures felt like a simple dream. The sun turned my nightmares to ash, but the aftertaste was still there. Distant ringing in my ears, distorted shadows crawling on the snow alongside me, and a barely audible whisper in my head, blurry and almost kind. Everything was silent. So silent, I felt like the world was totally empty. No ground, no sky, no parents, no Oya. The time reached its limit, a one-way trip that ended at the forest's piney stockade. Sometimes, silence was much scarier than any scream. Our parents would scream at each other while arguing, and both me and Oya turned to stone listening to them. But then always came the ringing silence. Our apartment became numb a couple of days before we departed. It was hard to remember the last time Mom and Dad joked around, laughing, or spent time together. Almost like all of it was in a previous life. When they kissed with Oya present, she always frowned and snorted in a funny way. But one day it all changed. Something important had left our home, and something scary filled the remaining void. It was as if a fire broke up, and our parents were hurriedly packing our belongings, trying to save themselves and us. From who, though? From the people with dead cold eyes, who sometimes visited us in our previous home, debt collectors? The eyes that only saw balls of worms on a black ground and everything. And somewhere far away, a siren was going off, trying to warn us of the coming menace. I shuddered, chasing away my delusions, and looked around. There were only me, this white field, and a wind that was whipping up icy dust and belts of powdered snow. I squinted from the sun and turned my eyes to the sunless forest. It looked especially dark in contrast with the blinding whiteness. Knobby tree roots slithered around the snow like fat snakes. Rotten leaves and coniferous needles froze into the ice. Dry, prickly branches intertwined, bringing up uncomfortable thoughts about fences. Were they protecting the trees? Or were they keeping something from breaking out? Some object was hanging from one of the pointy branches. The boy has been here. I tried to get closer, drowning in snow, and when I almost got to the edge of the forest, I saw a knitted mitten. It looked like a wounded bird among the hungering semi-dark. Should I take it to the police? The senior officer looked gloomy, but he still reminded me of Captain Casanova from my fate. Look, I don't give a shit. He was always so anxious, with a tired look in his eyes, but still brave and strong. Will this mitten help them find a lost boy? Volva! I heard a distant shout. It looked like it came from the river. Volva! Oh, it's the mother. Or the police. I said the trees were calling out to someone. Volva resounded closer to me. Someone was standing there behind the trees, hiding. Volva! I knew someone was looking for the lost boy, but still, something was unsettling about that figure. Its stillness, how it was bent unnaturally toward the ground, its blackness. There's no one there, just branches and roots. It's all just my imagination. A nearby bird flapped its wings loudly. A shadow split from the tree and disappeared from my sight. I looked away for just a moment. When I turned my gaze back to the same place, it was gone. So it was my imagination after all. Silence reigned for a painfully long time. Any noise, any little movement, any small whisper from the thicket, and I'd sprint. But nothing of that sort happened. I looked at the mitten once more. There's some really spooky, shitty music going on. What if we take it? What if we take it? Where's the backlog? Okay. Let's take it. I decided to take the lonely mitten from the branch. That was a bad choice? Okay, let's get out! Vulva! A shout rumbled across the field and dissolved into the distance. No echo, no hope for a reply. What is this? I stepped toward the bristly trees and tried to claim my find. I think I just killed myself. It didn't budge. It's a trap! I pulled harder, the branch cracked and the mitten tore off, landing in my hand with a squishy sound. All too heavy, wet. I squeezed it without thinking as something dark spilled from it, forming a tiny string between the mitten and the snow. Steam rose from the snow pile. Kid, run. I froze in place, studying my palms in disgust. Red, the sound of cracking branches invaded the silence. I didn't have time to think before running away. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking pipe branches, closing the distance with giant leaps. Snow was slowing me down. Crazy thoughts flew through my mind. I'll get caught. They'll get me. I'll get dragged into the thicket. I'll be gone forever. But there was one more voice, probably one of reason. It gave me strength, spurred me on. You can do it. Don't stop. I heard an animal roar behind me. It was so loud my ears went numb. It felt like the sound had come from a pack of hungry beasts, rather than a single one. Their nostrils sucked in freezing air. They sensed my fear. Two giant wings flapped above my head. An enormous shadow flew from the clearing. A hoot, a wheeze. The roars were coming from all directions now. From the dried up raspberry bush, from twisted pines, from under the windfall. Hurry, run, don't look back. It felt like I was inside a nightmare. The snowy clearing became viscous, like sand. I was stuck in place. I pulled my leg from the mushy trap, just to be caught in a new one, even deeper than before. I continued to drown, sinking deeper and deeper with every desperate push. Was snow ever this thick? Was it sticky? I screamed in horror. After realizing this wasn't snow, someone or something in the snow pile was clutching my pants. I gathered all my strength and rushed forward. The pressure on my leg was gone. My boots slipped out of the hole, and my soles were on a hard surface again. I reached a clear path with one jump and from there ran to my house. Its gloomy facade didn't look threatening now. I'm probably gonna die. The house was my line of defense from the shadows that flapped their wings and the creatures that were hidden under the snow. I tripped over the doorstep and smashed into the door. In all my hurry, I still managed to notice the claw marks, as if a dog was striking the wood with its paws, demanding to be let in so it could escape the cold. I hadn't noticed these marks when I was leaving. The heartbeat in my ears was much louder than my surroundings. I couldn't hear whether someone was following me or not. What if they were already in our front yard and Mom had locked the door? Drowning on fear, I pulled on the doorknob and it obediently gave away. I rolled into the hallway and shut the door behind me. Porch planks creaked as my pursuers ascended the stairs? My fingers slipped off the lock and I couldn't click into place. I gritted my teeth and pulled hard on the iron knob, whipping it between the boards. I stared blankly at the door. Someone was standing on the other side of the pitiful flimsy barrier that was probably less useful than blankets. Wheezing breath reached into the house and crashed at me in waves. It smelled of pine and sweat. Mom peeked out of the kitchen and chastised me with the same frigid voice she always used when talking to Dad. What exactly didn't you understand when I told you to never slam the door? I didn't mean to. I snuck a glance at the door. The smell was gone and the breath was too. If there was someone in the first place, of course. Here, mere 5 meters away from my mom, my fear was slowly weakening, melting like snow in spring, and with it, the last bit of strength I had left my body too. My legs gave away. I propped myself against the wall so I wouldn't fall over. Mom's expression had changed immediately. The cold mask of strictness and detachment was gone. Mom looked the same as before all those quarrels. She finally saw my condition, my wet pants plastered with snow. Where have you been? What did I tell you, huh? I told you to stay home. Am I nothing to you too? I got afraid she would cry. I reached out to her, like when I was very little, and wanted her to cuddle me. But Mom regained her composure fast and put on her usual face. Her eyes shined like steel, her voice rang out. Your dad can't find his cigarettes. Be honest. Did you snatch them? Were you smoking in secret? There was something chasing me. I thought. I stuttered as soon as I started explaining myself. Tears welled up in my eyes. Mom leaned towards me and sniffed my clothes like a beast, searching for the smell of tobacco. Bitch, I'm dying here! Then she squinted her eyes in suspicion and looked in the front yard. Her expression changed in an instant and she covered her mouth with her hand. Look, over there at the fence. My heart started thumping as if I became prey once again and my pursuers were following me in the field. I could swear I've heard something scratch at the door just like in my nightmare. Mom beckoned me with her finger, and I gathered all my remaining bravery to look into the kitchen window, facing my fear. I could barely discern some hairy silhouettes swimming in snow through the icy winter patterns on the glass. Dogs. Just a small pack of strays with no name and owner, barely reminding of the hungry monsters that live on the edge of the forest. Oh boy, were you scared of them? I think they'd rather be scared of you, Antone. They were chasing me, like a bunny. And what if they're rabbit? Oh, I'm a tiny bunny! The smile had slowly disappeared from Mom's face. Now she looked at the dogs as if it was her first time seeing them. What if they attack Olya? Mom? I wish your dad could just shoot them all. Mom, look, they're alive. Huh? What? Are they your friend or foe after all? Make up your mind. You're not a little kid anymore. Mom sighed in annoyance, and I felt so bitter that I bit my lower lip and fixed my gaze on the cobweb-ridden corner. Welp, some detective I am. In reality, I wasn't risking my life among monsters, but rather my pants among a pack of stupid strays. And what for? What use do I have for this? Mitten. Of course! A darkened, sticky mitten that belonged to the lost boy made a squishy sound in my hand. Seems like I was clutching it the whole time. That's my trump card as a detective. I hurried to present this clue to my mom. Mom, look, this is Volva's mitten. That boy the police were asking about in the morning. It's drenched in blood. I found it hanging on a tree. I can show where. Let's call the police right away, like the officer had told us to. Mom, look. Ew! A shadow of doubt slowly crept onto Mom's contorted face. As if she was trying to remember something distant. Like someone tries to remember their dream, but the images slip away. Stop at this moment. Oya will go insane if she hears you. She already had trouble sleeping and whines all the time. And you joke around like this, Mom. At that moment, I realized the mitten was actually wet from snow. There was no blood whatsoever. I wanted to sink through the floor from embarrassment. Come here, my boy who cried wolf. Oh, don't just stand there, come on. Take your pills, what? This boy. He on drugs? There must be a reason. A gold-colored pill reminiscent of a dead wasp fell into my palm. I already took one during breakfast. Don't talk over me. I told you to stay home and you... Dad would have given you a good whipping for that. Come on, take it or you won't be able to sleep at night, and you have school tomorrow. So I had to swallow the bitter medication, drinking it down with similarly awful water that gave off the taste of chlorine. Maybe it wasn't Volva's mitten. Maybe it wasn't a mitten at all. Just like the forest monsters. And Olya's owl. Am I going mad? What's happening to me? Either the pill had an immediate effect, or my overexerted brain didn't let fear inside anymore. Serenity washed over me, bringing yawny indifference along with it. Antone, you done? See, you can do it when you try. Take off your coat. Are you asleep? No, Mom. I was just thinking. What about, I wonder? It's just something silly. Mom scrutinized me with suspicious eyes, as if she wasn't sure she was looking at her own son and not some doppelganger that came from the forest. Is everything alright? You had the exact same expression when a policeman asked you about the window. I'm alright, Mom. She heaved a deep sigh. Ah, fine. It seemed like the house had changed. The sofa's fabric had become discolored. Fingerprints appeared on the bathroom tiles. The light bulbs also felt different, dimmer and yellower. Even the saliva inside my mouth had a different taste. A melody from Aladdin could be heard from the upper floor. Olya was done rewatching her favorite Little Mermaid episodes and switched to other tapes. I slowly changed into my home clothes, stopped before the sink, and studied my reflection in the mirror. Like I was trying to solve one of those spot the difference puzzles. Then I went upstairs. Jafar and Iego's voices died down. I walked past Olya's bedroom and slipped into my own. Oh, let's go save really quick. We will go ahead and save in the next page. One of the drawers was empty. I hid the mitten there. This simple action drained the last bit of strength from me. I guess one of it is that you have nothing to show for it. And maybe you get chased still, and this one I do have some sort of evidence. I sat on a bed. And only then I noticed there was someone behind the curtains. My tired hand dropped to the sheets. Whether it was due to medication I took or the stress I underwent, the room began to contort, as if the wind was blowing the walls out like a pair of sails. The room's corner bent and undulated. The only stable thing in the whole room was the figure between the windowsill and the curtains. It's probably Olya. A flimsy piece of cloth was stuck to my hidden visitor, just like a savin of sorts. Olya, who else would be standing there? I stood up and licked my dried up lips. Yeah, Olya, it's so funny. The silhouette was unmoving. It was enveloped softly by the curtains, as if there was a thick layer of darkness there, not a human being. I reached towards the curtains. But beat my heart, controlled by medication. The wind sang in the fields with a chorus of voices. For a second, I wanted to return to the bed, just lie down and watch the person behind the curtain, knowing full well they were looking back at me. They're looking without blinking, waiting for me to fall asleep. Plastic rings rustled against the holder when I pulled open the curtains. Gotcha! I knew it was you from the beginning. A blindingly bright halo lit above Olya's head, with a setting sun as the background. My sister was shining. When she was just a baby, Dad always used to say she was shining with happiness. I always retorted, "But Dad, she's not some flashlight." But I brought her to a window one day, and sunlight poured on her smiling face. I felt like I was holding a child woven from light. I saw everything. Oh, really? What did you hide? She was just like my mom when she was little, before she put on her sad mask of tiredness and switched to her commanding tone of voice. It's nothing, just... Olya ran up to the table, her eyes round, and asked, "You stole something and hid it there? Are you a thief?" What? Don't be stupid. I didn't steal anything. A clear image came to mind. That mitten hanging from a tree branch. What if I did steal it after all? From the forest, from the tilted figure standing behind black trees. Olya could be selfish and stubborn when she wanted. Then show me. Swear that you won't tell anyone, then I'll show you. Olya wore a plotting smile. I swear on Mom's heart. An oath she heard in one of the movies about the pioneers we've watched. Don't say things like that. Olya nodded and made a gesture with her hand, locking her mouth with an imaginary key. She was filled with curiosity that was splashing in her giant eyes. I opened the drawer and Olya leaned in, holding her breath. It looked like there was not just a simple mitten, but some sort of exotic critter. Is this someone's mitten? She said it as if she couldn't understand what she saw. A certain boy lost it, and got lost himself. Now you do understand how it is for kids to wander into the forest, right? He must be really cold out there. Will they find him? They will. The police are going house to house, showing his photo to everybody. Olya traversed the room with care and pressed her tiny palms against the window. And why are they going to houses and not the forest? Are they scared? The question caught me off guard. The police aren't scared of anything. Yeah, right, flashed in my clouded mind. Did they really check every nook and cranny where darkness, cold, and whispers of icy branches dwell? If that's the case, how did they miss the mitten? Or did it appear later? For me. I changed the topic, as I'm trying to get Olya as far away as possible from the forest thicket. We may get a reward if I go and find this boy by myself. A lot of stuff, like in Field of Wonders. Sounds cool, right? Olya wasn't listening to me. She was piercing the forest with incredibly adult eyes, uncharacteristic for her. What if the owl got him? Nonsense, an owl won't be able to lift a human. But you know what? I was picking my words with utmost care. I forced them out of my overexerted brain. Stay away from the forest. I think it's... How should I put it? It's cursed or something. Just like in a fairy tale. No, not like that. More like in that spooky tape Mom and Dad are hiding from us. Olya shivered and stole a glance at the window. I saw you running away. Someone was chasing you? Did she not see? No, it's just I was hurrying back home so Mom won't be worried. As I looked at my sister, my heart was tearing apart. She was so fragile. It was so easy to stifle her light. A gust of wind and her small fire would be gone. You're lucky. Mom won't even let me go outside. I'm like a princess in a tower, can't go anywhere. I'll die from boredom here. You're wrong. No one has ever died of boredom. And you have me and your cartoons, and Mom and Dad will be good to each other soon. You know what I would wish for my next birthday? I'd wish for Mom and Dad to turn into children, so we could go and play together like we used to. Yeah, and if you make them as small as bugs, we can place them into a little box. Oya giggled and tugged at my sleeve. Tony, let's watch Aladdin. Fatigue went over my desire to be with my little sister. I was washed over by some sort of heinous apathy. I'm too tired. I don't want to. Come on. It's so boring alone and my mom is always busy. We can pick a cartoon you haven't seen before. I know all of our tapes by heart at this point. Not all of them. You haven't watched Peter Pan. Remember how you fell asleep in the middle of it? And so much happens after that. Let's go, let's go. Maybe a bit later. Should I tell you how it ends? Let's leave that for tomorrow. I won't tell you tomorrow. I know, let's play hide and seek. No, Oya. Now draw me a dino. Oya, please. Draw it, draw it. Will you leave me alone already? I blurted it out without thinking, and then I was immediately taken aback. I'd never screamed at my little sister like that. Oya stared at me in shock. Her lips started trembling, a precursor to tears. My chest was seething with disgust and embarrassment. What's happening to me? I hurried to prevent Oya from crying. Alright, you win. Let's go watch cartoons for a bit. I don't wanna. You little bitch! I came up to her, put my hand on her soft head. Let's go. Let's go watch Peter Pan. Boo! You'll fall asleep again. I smiled and lifted her chin. Her eyes were wet and felt bottomless. I promise I won't. And I'll draw you a full triceratops later. Hooray! Syrup-pops. Well, close enough. Oya rubbed her eyes with the sleeve of her pajamas, and a shiny smile returned to her face. I'll go ask Mom for condensed milk and bread, and you rewind the tape. The bread is fresh, just how you like it. Alright, just be careful not to spill the milk, or you'll be yelled at again. Wanna bet I won't spill it? The tape is somewhere in the nightstand. Look for it. Oya disappeared into the doorway, and I dragged my feet into the neighboring room. The old photon TV was gathering dust in the corner. All that was left was clicking the button on the front panel. We can see a bit of a reflection there. It's gone now though. The tube warmed up and familiar white noise started dancing on the black screen. I almost reached out to turn on the VCR when the noise calmed down and a blurry image appeared for a moment. It was a dark taiga forest, just like the one outside my window. The picture split the screen in half. Something creepy resembling human speech was coming out of the speaker. Just a few moments later, the scenery was again overshadowed by noise. Did it catch some rogue signal? Local TV stations only really showed Soviet cartoons, and even then that was pretty rare. And only recently I used to watch Robotech before school. It was so awesome. Maybe I should tinker with the antenna? What if I catch the channel again? On the other hand, Oya had asked me to find a tape. It wouldn't be nice to disappoint her. But in my sleepy state, I didn't have the strength to do all of it. Hold up. I assume this is a choice between feeding our paranoia or setting the thing. I think we should search. Let's make Oya happy. I sifted through the shelves. Oh, look at these. They're like Moomins. I think it's Moomin. Is it Moomin or is it Hippo? Okay, we found a tape. This rustle was lulling me to sleep. Drowsiness attacked me while I was squatting before the TV. Images swirled in my head. And Oya flying above the forest, tumbling into soft clouds. My little sister is laughing, but her smile becomes more and more forced with every passing second. I noticed that the clouds underneath us part, burying the bristly pine tops. Swampy darkness slurped among the trees. The wings are no longer able to hold us in, Olga. You haven't started without me, have you? My sister brought the tray with an unevenly cut bread and a whole can of the condensed milk. My sister brought the tray with unevenly cut bread and a whole can of condensed milk. I rubbed my eyes. No. Come, sit. Mom and Dad are arguing again. They're going through rough times. Rough times are lame. On the screen, Wendy was hiding Peter Pan's shadow in the dresser. Oya was entertained by the cartoonish dog Nana. Maybe Mom and Dad will buy us a dog too. Oh, they have like the still images on screen. That's cute. Copyrighted but cute. Yeah, right. I'll have my own dog in the Neverland, and a cat, and a parrot. Oya smeared a slice of bread with a thick layer of condensed milk and handed it to me. Have you lost all your baby teeth? Obviously. Oya frowned deep in thought. Peter Pan has baby teeth. What if they won't let you go into his land without... What if they won't let you go to his land with adult teeth? We'll think of something. We'll ask Dad to alter your age in the passport. And why would Dad forge documents? Oya took a bite from his sandwich and started talking with her mouth full. He will. I hope although I will before. You'll grow ears as big as Dumbo's. Oya got worried and touched her ears. I smiled to myself. My little sister was silent now. She just devoured bread, watching the adventures of Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, and James Hook. As if she got sucked into the fairy tale Neverland. To be honest, I also imagine myself there, in a land where no one ever ages, where no one argues over little things, where no one listens to fights and the sounds of broken plates at night. It felt like I was dreaming with my eyes still open. Then my sister's scream pulled me back to reality. Tony, shut the curtains fast! Why? No one's watching you. It's dark, and when it's dark, the owl comes. I'm scared. I got out of bed, fighting my drowsiness, and closed the curtains. I did my best not to look outside, toward the treetops, towards the taiga forest, which seemingly drew closer and closer. Of course, it was just a visual effect from shadows of branches scraping the snow. Tony, Mom thinks I made the owl up, and Dad too thinks I'm a liar since I'm small. But the owl exists. Honestly, it does. You do believe me, right? That it comes every night and... I swiftly grabbed Oya's hand and looked her into the eyes. I was trying to transfer at least some of my courage and determination. But did I really have those qualities? Yes, I believe you, alright? Just don't nag our parents about it anymore. They're already dealing with a lot, so they'll just get mad at you. Come and tell me if anything happens. And don't look out the window. But it wants me to look. Doesn't matter. Act like it doesn't exist and never existed. Like it's made up, just like Mom and Dad say. It'll get tired of waiting and fly away. Or will it? But will it? It was madness. But after everything that's happened recently, I was more and more inclined to believe Oya's owl existed. We followed Peter Pan's adventures as if nothing had happened. As if the forest didn't kidnap kids. As if our parents weren't tearing each other apart bit by bit. Captain Hook was running away from a crocodile, and Captain Pan was headed to London on a gilded sailboat. By some miracle, I lasted longer than my little sister. Oh no. Oya's eyelids had dropped. She started snorting lightly, resting her chin on the side of the bed. I stood up and left Oya's room. Oh, why would you look into the window? I was looking out the window, studying the field, when Mom peeked into my room. Enough playing around. It's your first day at school tomorrow. Go to bed. Go sleep properly. You don't want to be teased for being sleepy, right? Adults think everything is so simple. As if sound sleep would ensure my classmates would like me. I covered myself with a blanket up to my neck and listened to the house humming, to something invisible rustling in the corners. My inner voice had a question for me. Do I want to hear that mysterious flute again? Yes or no? Maybe it's just part of growing up, and I can't fully understand my own desires. The force wailed behind the barrier that was in my walls. Some ethereal entity wandered around the fields. Branches shook as if calling for me. The wind howled on in the night. My thoughts were like annoying flies that entered my head before becoming weak and tangled. I didn't notice how I fell into slumber. I got the achievement a true detective. Huh. Oh, after reading for an hour and 20 minutes, that brings us to the end of episode 1 of Tiny Bunny. I'll go ahead and look at what happens if you choose not to take the mittens, or if you choose to not look up Peter Pan. Maybe you'll fall asleep or die? Not sure, let's see. But I hope you enjoyed Tiny Bunny, and if you do like more of what you saw, well, you can purchase the game on Steam.